Hey, everybody, we are live on the You vs. You show. This is Todd Cahill, the author of the book, You vs. You, the 12 Ways to Kick Your Own Ass and Win. This is, again, the You vs. You show. And we want to bring on and always the best of the best people that are not only winning the outside battles of maybe their routine and their calendar, but they're also winning the battle within themselves. And I'm so excited for everyone that's watching this today. So if you're joining us, thanks so much for being on. Go ahead and comment, where you're watching from. And if you're on the replay, #replay. This is on many Facebook pages and also Instagram. And I'm just excited to really have a conversation today with a good friend of mine, Sabin, who is in Southern Cal. But I think you're in Temecula right now, right, Sabin?
Exactly. Yep. Temecula.
Yeah, that's where I used to live for many, many years, and love Temecula, the Marietta area. Miss it like crazy. And we're gonna have a great interview today, Sabin, because you're on fire. You have so much to say. And I know you're just so old. I mean, you're in your 60s, so we have to really dive. Now you're in your 20s, and it's not mid 20s; it's like younger 20s. So a lot of wisdom that a lot of people that are watching this are going to really hear today, whether they are in their 60s or 50s. I think they can learn a lot from you and just kind of your journey. So what I like to do is just kind of go back and forth and like kind of pretend we're at a Starbucks right now and people are watching and listening. And I want to dive into energy healing, leadership, conscious coaching, kind of your journey. But tell us a little bit about you, because of course this is going to come up. There's a few other people on this planet that look like you.
Yes.
So talk to us about your story a little bit and your background, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah. So they're all in this house right now. We're all together, and
Right.
my other brothers. I'm one of 4 identical quadruplets. So there's actually only one of 20. There's 24 sets of identical quadruplet boys in the world, making our chances of birth at 1 in 600 million, which is really, really extraordinary. And a lot of people assumed our lives to be perfect growing
Right.
up because of that. But oh my God, that cannot be further from the truth, let me tell you.
Right.
Because one thing a lot of people don't know about quadruplets or even twins is they get so much attention for their collective identity, celebrity-like attention. We were national celebrities as babies, super popular in elementary school, but we got little to no attention for our individual selves. And you have to think about what that does to a child. I really internalized the belief that my real self is worthy of love or acceptance. And then you really start to think about, well, what do kids do who don't feel worthy of love and acceptance? Do they go within themselves and start meditating? I wish, but that's not what they do. I looked for an external goal to fill an internal hole. So a couple of things we did. We entered the sport of ice hockey. So I see a lot of myself in Utah because I was obsessed with ice hockey. I had an NHL hockey coach say we worked harder than anybody he ever knew. And I'm not saying that to show off, because the discipline was admirable, but the motivation behind it was destructive. The fear that we would be individually loved or accepted. And so we went to these extreme lengths. I'll give you one example: obsessive competition. I saw my cousin's boyfriend at the time not eat junk food for 4th of July. So you know what I did? I didn't eat junk food for 3 years straight after that. I'm not joking. 3 years straight, nothing. I was up at 4 a.m. every single day before high school, and we're even on the ice for 10 hours a day one summer.
Wow.
And so the main way that I did it, though, was through perfectionism. I thought if I can appear perfect in the eyes of everyone else, I will get the attention that I got for being a quadruplet. And that meant never looking on the inside and continually shoving down my insecurities through attaining, going to the University of Notre Dame or reaching the highest levels of hockey. And what I've really realized is, before I was able to find my true self, is that the gap between who you present to the outside world and how you actually feel on the inside is just deep and immense suffering. And I was suffering for so many years until I finally, through my own suffering, was forced to look within and make changes. So I would say that's a brief synopsis.
Yeah. So let's get right into the how you made that shift and how you made that change, because I'm so excited and passionate, being the CEO of Inside Out Institute, to not only be a part of this movement that we're creating around the world, but have people like you affiliated with it, and then moving up the ranks to really be a partner with us, so that you can either be a energy healing, innovative energy healing practitioner, or of course the conscious leadership coach. Now, I see you being both. I mean, you could do both, and you got the background in athleticism and hockey, and like I do in basketball and football. And in that drive, and I think we're both beyond driven. I'm about to turn 40, and you're in your 20s. But it's that drive, but it also has hurt both of us.
Yeah.
It's hurt our relationships. It's hurt just having fun. Just not eating junk food for 3 years. I was totally like you. I don't think I drank a soda till I was like 22 years old. I never like touched drugs or cigarettes or anything like that until maybe, not drugs, but, a beer that, alcohol here and there, but not even now that, and that's good because I don't have bad habits and stuff like that. But it's also, it's not always great to just be driven all the time, right? You want to have fun, enjoy life. So let's talk, that's an energy thing. So it's like, the thing that you kind of, let's talk about how you were introduced to the emotion code and body code and what has it done for you? Just let's talk about how that happened, that introduction, how it's really helped you heal a lot quicker than people would think healing. And I think one of the misconceptions about healing is, well, first of all, biggest misconception is information. Well, if I can get the right information, I can heal. That's not true. If that happened, then we're all going to be like limitless, like Bradley Cooper on that movie. Like, okay, if I just get the right information, I can just be limitless. And that's not true. But talk to me about the thinking outside the box of the emotion code and body code and what it's done for you.
So before the emotion code, I'll step back for a second. So COVID hits. I think I was like dating 4 girls at the time. I was traveling to cities every weekend. I was like thinking I was the shit, right? And before I knew it, everything started to collapse around me. My whole way of living went to shreds, and I was just looking again for external goals. I was trying to hold on to it. But what really struck me is I was depressed for the first time in my life at the beginning of COVID, but I just happened to be listening. This is how the way, the universe works. It's so interesting. I was listening to Tom Bilyeu's Impact Theory. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. He interviews incredible guests. He was doing this special on meditation where he had a bunch of people who he had on the show talk about meditation. And one man just floored me because his name was Vishen Lakhiani, CEO of Mind Valley. And he talked about the hustle myth. And I was captivated because I looked up to the Eric Thomas, you got to succeed as bad as you want to breathe kind of stuff. And he said, hustling's a myth. He said, there's nothing wrong with hard work, but it has its limits. And the idea that you have to work an ungodly amount of hours in order to be successful is something that's being shifted. And there's this new way of going about things where you start going within and surrendering. And so from there, my eyes were open to a new way of living. And as I started to follow vision in Mind Valley, I really began to open myself up. And when you open yourself up within, the opportunities come outside of you. And so I was actually in a Mind Valley quest, which is course that they offer called Speak Inspire with Lisa Nichols. And I remember making my first video and a lot of people really liked it. And one of them happened to be Lori Beckman, who's also at Inside Out Institute. Shout out to Lori. I think she's watching. And she just happened to contact me. And this is what the funny story is. You never know how things are going to work out. At first, she said this. I'll say straight what she said. You are beyond handsome. I love your authenticity. I want you to meet my beautiful nieces. I have 2 of them. They're very well spoken. And I was like, oh, this is great. Like, she's going to set me over with her nieces. Like, she's going to be this great means to this end. But I couldn't really see how valuable she would be herself because she asked me if I was open to an emotional healing session. I was like, I don't know what that is, but my emotional life is shit. I'll go for it. And I'll never forget the feelings as, I was on the phone with her. I sat on my porch outside and she began removing my heart wall. And I was my heart was expanding and I didn't know what was going on. And I remember getting off the phone with her that day. And I'm the kind of person like you, Todd, beyond driven. I took action. I ordered that book right after I got off the phone. I ordered the emotion code because it was just so shocking. And I think I had 4 calls lined up for that day. They all got canceled. So I just really had time to process and go within. And from there, it's just history. I'm starting to learn this idea of surrendering more and more. And before I know it, Lori's asked me I should go on the webinar. She said, I'm at this institute that combines coaching and energy healing. I'm like, okay, I just am getting into this energy healing stuff. It's changing me in so many ways, and I love it. The coaching, I said a couple of months before COVID hit, I was informally coaching people at Notre Dame for free. And I wrote a note, I still remember that, because I was really obsessively going after girls and stuff even at that time. And I went, life coaching beats girls by 1,000,000. I feel so much bliss right now. And I was so frustrated with my major. And so kind of just bringing that together, I was like, this is the exact fit for me. Before you knew it, I was on the phone with you, Todd. I was nervous as hell for it. But I just knew I'm the kind of person, even if I don't have I don't know all the logistics. I was starting to tap more into my intuition and have that faith. And that was something I didn't have for the longest time. And it has been just the wildest, most transformative journey of my life. Getting the subconscious conscious alignment,
Yeah.
especially around my perfectionism, is just the example I like to use, because for years now, I knew consciously that I wanted to be authentic, but I had this voice in the back of my head that kept pulling me towards my old lifestyle, towards
Yeah.
appearing perfect. And
Yep.
when I worked with my healer, Sarah Strizzi, and my coach, Kimberly, on the conscious side, she started doing Facebook Lives with me, and I got more comfortable with that. I got a healing on the subconscious side, and it became infinitely easier to be more authentic and alive than I've ever been. And so the blend of both, I think our world is shifting. And the
Mm.
subconscious side, what I've realized ultimately is just maybe even more powerful on the conscious side. They're both super necessary, but I was so far on one extreme. And so the emotion code, that's just one thing. It's allowed me to rediscover my childlike awe, the 5-year-old self, who I really believe that the journey of personal growth is a rediscovery. It's a rediscovery
Yeah.
of someone we lost. We come onto this earth, not with nothing and no baggage, but with very little. And kids are so happy and in awe of life because they can feel the love from other people and the
Mm-hmm.
planet. And we lose that. And people just go, yeah, it's responsive. We get responsibilities as adults. I call bullshit on that. Like, it
Yeah.
is so
Yeah.
much deeper, and the energy healing has really opened that up, so I can really
Yeah.
figure out what I wanted to do and
So let's
have the
talk.
conscious action.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So, one of my mentors is Kyle Cease. Have you ever heard of Kyle Cease?
I love Kyle Cease. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so Kyle Cease has he's the first person I've ever heard, because the first time I heard about Kyle Cease was an interview with Lewis Howes, and it wasn't obviously the biggest interview that Lewis Howes interviewed Kobe Bryant last year, and but this guy was like, okay, because the tagline, right, clickbait, it was the title that made me like, okay, it was just like how powerful or how worthy you are. And one of the things, and that's how I started the Inside Out program and Inside Out Institute, is last year he said something, this was like a year and a half ago, actually. He said, working and hustling is the same. You can actually work hard at meditating and doing nothing. And it was like, for a guy that's beyond driven, that I'll work out 2 times a day if I need to. I will, like, every time I have just a little bit of just in my stomach, like a little bit of a roll, I'm out. I'm out to the gym. I'm doing my cardio. Like, I just refuse to get rid of my six. Like, that's me. But I'm not like eating, hardly anything. I eat good, but I work out hard so I can eat good. But anyway, I've always been hardworking, network marketing, millions of dollars, blah, 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 put them all in, let's go, blah, blah, blah. And then, but I didn't want to do that. So I literally, for 8 months, because of Kyle Cease, I would sit and do nothing for 3 to 4 hours. And I would feel massively guilty about it, until finally I didn't feel guilty about it. In fact, I was actually getting these ideas and getting this self-awareness. But here's the biggest problem in relationships. And here's the biggest problem, with that whole thing you're talking about, chasing girls and stuff like that. And even in marriages, the stuff that I've even had to go through is, if a person is not willing to stop and think and pause and journal and be in that presence of themselves, and even in the depths of the darkness, and feel it, and not try to hurry up and get out of that feeling with drugs or alcohol or sex or dating around or apps. And I don't like it, I'm single, gotta go get a guy, gotta go get a girl, oh my god, I don't like this feeling. But being in that's what really has transformed, I think, both of us. So talk about like some of that dark moments this year for you, but how you were just in the stillness of that, and just really holding that in that moment, and then building something from that, and actually kind of liking the fact that, hey, like, I'm not okay, but this is okay.
Yeah. So first, I wanted to just bring in a quote that I heard once that really stunned me, and it said, "To he or she who most perfectly practices inaction, all one word, all
Mm-hmm.
is possible. Everything is possible." And I was just like you, Todd. I was the hustler, the go, go, go. But if we're not changing our mindset, if we're not letting go of old beliefs, I'm truly under the belief that consciousness or your identity, you can't maintain or keep what you have not become in consciousness. And so it's like the guy who has the spirit of poverty mentality, the broke man's mentality, but wins the lottery. They're never going to keep that money.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Right.
And it's something I didn't realize until I got deeper into my meditation practice. COVID, I still remember I was still hustling. I was still trying to date and keep up with these 4 girls long distance. And I was trying to do this
You can't
YouTube
do
channel
4 girls
thing.
at once, man. There's only one. You can't do 4. You're
I
gonna have
le- I
yeah.
learned the hard way. I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
But I just remember how we were sitting for a YouTube video, me and my identical quadruplet brothers, and the tension was building because they did not like me because I was not very nice and I was kind of selfish. And I just remember one of my brothers just leaving and saying, "I'm done with this. Fuck this. I'm going. I'm leaving." And I just remember I felt like he was stomping on my heart when he left, and I watched in tears as all my other brothers left. And for the first time in my life, the word depression came to mind. I couldn't get out of bed for days. I didn't know what was going to happen. But what's so powerful about suffering is looking back, I can say if I didn't go through that, I would never be the person I was today. And it really, this has been a question on my mind for years now, but what makes the difference between suffering that transforms and destroys? And one thing is that stillness. It is that meditation. It is that quiet, because you receive ideas and insights and new ways of thinking, and you're able to let go of old ways of thinking. And but I also believe,
by the way, every narcissist should be watching this, but they're not going to. But that's what makes a narcissist. It's like they don't care to sit down and sit and so because a narcissist is a very insecure person and they want control. But there's no such thing in life as control, because certainty doesn't exist in life. So we're chasing, and these narcissists is just the behavior. I mean, they're good people within, and they just kind of turn into this control because they are insecure about themselves. And that's kind of where maybe you were, not saying you're a narcissist at all, but you were just like not in control, or you wanted more control, and you're trying to, yeah. But being in the stillness, the suffering, yet we have two choices in suffering. We can either embrace the suffering because it humbles us. So if we can humble ourselves in the suffering and ask the question, what did I do, or what am I responsible for? Because we're not always responsible for everything. Sometimes life just happens and we're good people and we maybe didn't do anything wrong and we still got dealt kind of a nasty hand. I mean, that's just life. Life's not unfair. Life is unfair. But like in that suffering, it's like I can receive it, I can grow on it, I can be humbled by it, and I can build bricks again. But then it's the other person that says, oh my gosh, if it wasn't for him, if it wasn't for her, if it wasn't for this, oh my God, I would never have to do that. And they just complain and complain and complain and complain. So what is the energy from your understanding of the emotion code, body code? How is the energy and the vibration so much different with person A and person B?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I'll give a personal example that happened to me more recently that I think will really shed light on this. This idea of the victim state of consciousness, I call it. It's a low state of consciousness. Most people are in it. It's the immediate blame of the outside world. And even things that you think are other people's problems, oftentimes, I love the saying that we're all mirrors of each other. And there are some things that obviously are not your fault, but I'll give you an example of one thing that I thought wasn't my fault, but it totally was. So I stopped my YouTube channel with my quadruplet brothers a couple months ago, but it happened in an interesting way. We were going to do a quadruplet teleportation prank video with another set of quadruplet girls. It was going to be hilarious. I planned the whole thing out. And my brothers all of a sudden said, hey, by the way, I'm not comfortable with that. We're not going to be doing that. That's not cool. And what they meant was it wasn't really in accordance with our values. And they thought that I was just chasing views, which looking back, I kind of was. But it bothered me so much. What were my first thoughts? Oh my God, they're so not grateful. I do 90% of the work for this YouTube channel. What's wrong with them? But I remember what's so funny. I went upstairs to watch one of your illumination trainings, and I literally couldn't even hear you because my mental chatter was going everywhere. And my intuition told me you got to take some stillness. And after 3 hours of sitting in meditation and journaling, I came to this realization. I know what the problem is. I've been covering up my insecurity around YouTube analytics for so long. You're literally using a piece of paper to cover the suggested videos so I wouldn't see my own videos because I didn't want to see them because I had a really painful, traumatic moment where we hit like 15,000 views on one video and the next video did way worse. And it pained me, and my solution, this is the blame. It's, let's just cover it up. Let's just cover it up. And I covered it up for months. But because at the end of the day, I realized that I'm so happy that they said that. It had nothing to do with them. And it had absolutely everything to do with me. And I was able to formulate a process by which step by step, I was able to confront those insecurities, check those YouTube analytics, do emotion and body code sessions around this stuff and have other people do it. Now I remember looking a month later at the YouTube analytics, the thing I avoided for months, and I was smiling in joy. I'm like, I'm so proud of myself. I was smiling in joy. I was like, why was I avoiding this for so long? It wasn't nearly as bad as my mind had made it out to be.
Yeah, being a public speaker myself, I mean, we can all fall in that trap of, well, man, I didn't get a standing ovation, or "Yeah, I didn't get a lot of claps," or whatever that is. But what I learned, luckily around your age, around, well, 25, 26, when I started really speaking, because I was surrounded by great mentors. They just said, even if you change one person's life, you did a great job. And just knowing like my audience and the messaging of a YouTube, or even right now, like I don't need to interview anyone. I can just go rock a YouTube thing myself, but I don't want to just talk and try to get analytics. I want to add value. And even if one person sees this interview with you and me and really gets the book, The Emotion Code, or really reaches out to us or reaches out to a practitioner, they could really just completely transform their life. And we are just tools out there sharing that really can open up so many doors. So when I changed my mindset of my message, that it wasn't just my message that I wanted to share, it was the message that from my own story of my suffering. And this is what people don't get. Suffering has the greatest blessings if you redefine it. And it goes back into my
Yes.
book, You versus You. So we got to just be self-aware about the battles, relationship battles, or health battles, or whatever. Like, for instance, if someone is overweight their whole life and they're eating McDonald's, and then when they're 40, they're hit with cancer, it's your fault. You ate a Big Mac every day since you're 18 years old. So, oh no, it's not my fault. No, it is. It's your fault. You chose to. But if you can redefine it, what if this happened to my friend Ryan Lelf, and he was kind of that person. He just fast food, fast food, fast food. And then when he was around 35, stage 4 cancer. And literally 5 years ago, almost was going to die. I mean, literally, we're raising money for him and everything. And he was raising tons of money. And he raised $200,000, and he was going to die in 30 days if he did not raise this money. So he took the 200,000. He asked everyone and his mother for money. He went to Mexico, got holistic healing, did all this crazy stuff. And obviously, you'd have to ask him because I don't know the whole story. But now he's been cancer-free for 5 years. And he doesn't eat all that crap anymore. He's so holistic, so healthy. Not that he doesn't cheat, and I went to In-N-Out with him when we went to an event in California, but he barely eats that stuff anymore. But he just had to change that. But he said cancer was the best thing that's ever happened to him. So it's that redefining of, okay, what happened? How did I mess all this up? But how do I know better? And now I can take my story, and he's been sharing his story to thousands of people all over the world, and completely
Incredible.
helped other people heal, and all that stuff. So that's so cool that you're
Amazing.
going through that. So anything that you have to say about that rediscovery of the suffering, that
Yeah.
people should feel good about it, not bad.
Totally. I want to give people three great questions. And this was not me, this was from the great Jay Shetty. I
Mm-hmm.
was fortunate enough to have him actually answer a question live for me. And he said kind of this. He said there's three questions that you want to ask in the midst of suffering. Well, he said first, he quoted Ray Dalio. He said, pain plus reflection equals progress. Without the reflection part, you just have pain. Pain equals pain. And he said there's three powerful questions you can ask yourself when you're in suffering. So if anybody who's watching this, definitely write this down, because I know I was writing ferociously when Jay Shetty said this. The first one is, what is this situation trying to gift me? What
Mm-hmm.
good is, and don't try to answer it with your conscious mind right away. Be receptive, give it some time, just put that question out there. The answer will come. The second one is, how can I never forget that gift? How can I
Mm-hmm.
never forget that gift so I can carry that with me and let it transform me permanently? And the third one is kind of what you mentioned, Todd, with your friend,
Mm-hmm.
is how can I give that gift to others? And so that's the
Wow.
most powerful thing about suffering, is when you're able to reflect and transform from it and make progress from it, you have a story now that the same people who are going through
Wow.
what you went through don't have to be destroyed by that suffering. And that's the inherent meaning behind suffering. I really believe that.
I love that. So just so everyone's watching this, because I love what he just said. So pain plus reflection equals progress. He quoted from Ray Dalio, who Ray Dalio owns a hedge fund and one of the most incredible investors the world's ever seen. Pick up any Ray Dalio book. Tony Robbins personally works with him. Number one, what is the situation trying to gift me? So in suffering, so ask yourself, what is this situation trying to gift me, not give me, gift me? Number two, how can I never forget that gift? Number three, how can I give this gift to others? And I just think that's absolutely truly immense. I mean, that really helps me out today. So I got a lot out of that. I'm gonna study that, and I'm going to apply this in my journaling in the morning when I'm really in reflection and going through the things that I'm going through too, and progressing and really giving that gift to others. That's amazing. So Sabin, we have just a few more minutes. Where can everyone follow you? I know you're on Instagram, I believe, and YouTube. You have a big YouTube channel. Just give us some platforms that people can follow you on.
Yeah. So I am a little less active on YouTube and Instagram right now, but I'm going to pick those back up soon. So it's Karma Quads on Instagram. I stopped the Instagram a lot because it was our quadruplet. Instagram was the only one I had, and our YouTube channel had stopped. But the YouTube channel is Karma Quads. We have a nice following there. It was like 5,300 last time I checked. The Instagram is there, but I'm doing mainly lives on Facebook. You can just look up Sabin Karma. I'm the only Sabin Karma out there, I believe, because my name's pretty unique. And that's where you can find me.
What's your nationality?
I am Middle Eastern. I'm Lebanese, 50% Italian and Irish.
Nice. Okay. Me and you are Irish, so pound. Nice. There's the connection, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, great. All right, cool. Well, that's awesome, man. Well, a couple last things here. All right. So, how old are you?
I just turned 23.
All right. What was your birthday?
November 7th. Oh man, it was longer ago than I thought. It was the day that Biden ended up winning the election. It was that day.
Oh, I don't think he won yet. You mean, yeah.
You know what I mean. The day, whatever the opinion is, the day he was celebrating all
the day CNN said he won. Okay, great. But anyway, I'm just kidding. So my birthday is next week. I'll be 40, and you're 23.
23, just yeah.
23, amazing. I was homeless and broke when I was 23, so you're doing a really good job. So let's talk about the millennials as we wrap this up. I think the millennials get a very bad rap. Anyone that's watching this obviously is watching a millennial. I like to say I'm one, but I'm 5 years off. But you are a millennial, and you're not one of those complainers, whiners, all the stuff that millennials are facing. But I will say that millennials are facing a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear. I think even the idea of marriage scares millennials. They see their parents divorce, like everyone's getting divorced. They don't maybe believe in it. They maybe go into student loan debt. And I know you're in Notre Dame. And so is there anything that you can say, knowing what you know now, that can really inspire the millennial culture out there that is 23, 33 or below, that maybe is just filled with anxiety right now, not knowing their future? They might not have clarity, and they're watching this. So is there anything that you can kind of give to them today?
Yeah, I would say the first thing, because I really believe that true internal transformation, everything starts within, but how do you go within? Well, you have to challenge what's out there. I think so many of us, especially my generation, especially the Gen Z generation, have bought into what I love Vishen, the CEO of Mindvalley, calls rules, the bullshit rules of society. We have to realize where they came from. They came from people that were no smarter than us, and they can be challenged. And as in one of my favorite movies, The Matrix, he says, some of the rules can be bent, others can be broken. But you're never really going to go within if you're convinced that the way society told you is the way the world works. And when you ask the right questions, the person who seeks is the person who finds. When you open yourself up to that by asking the right questions, you will find the right answers in a period of time. So have patience, have faith, and really start cultivating self-awareness. I remember for me, the first time I did it was, I was an extremist, so I'll just a disclaimer here, but I was out partying 6 nights a week at the University of Illinois before I ended up at Notre Dame. I was in 3 different fraternities. I was dropped from 2 of them. But it was only when I got dropped in that suffering that I reflected. That's when I started the questioning process. Why am I going out? Why did I go out the whole day for 12 hours and then want to go out again at night? What is it really that I'm doing? Is this really true to my soul, to my mission, to my purpose? If you don't start with the questioning, you're never going to go within. So I would say that.
Right. Very cool. And last thing, people pleasing. A lot of people in your generation, of course, a lot of people in all generations, but Instagram, people pleasing. You even talked about it. If you didn't get a lot of views, how does people pleasing play a negative, really play a negative role in someone's life? Because not that you shouldn't care what people think. I think you should. I mean, like, I don't care what anyone thinks. Well, you probably should. I mean, people, you don't want to, everyone thinks, people want to you want to be likable, right? But at the same time, you don't want to use that as like our drug. Like, I got to just please everyone. How is that really for you, knowing what you know now? Has that shifted for you where you're not as maybe much as a people pleaser? Because I was there for many years, people pleasing, making sure I say yes to everyone, especially if they're in my business. Oh my God, I'm available. Oh yeah, if you need me right, oh my God, I'll help you right now. And now it's like, maybe tomorrow I'll call you, instead of just, I'm available whenever you need me,
Totally. So I'll say first is I was one of the most extreme. I fell under two spectrums, and I really believe the root of both of these is
Hmm.
unworthiness. The root
Hmm.
of unworthiness a lot that manifests externally as you're either a prover or a pleaser or both.
Hmm.
I oscillated between both. I was the one, I'll show you all when I didn't make the hockey team that I'll make the NHL, or I'll show you a
Yep.
guy who said my girlfriend wasn't attractive when I get the hottest girl ever. Um,
Hmm.
and so that was a big
You
part.
don't want the hottest girl ever, by the way, because then they know that they're hot and all they're going to care about is their
Yeah,
look and not
a
you. So
hundred percent, a hundred
yeah.
percent. Learn from the best, Todd. I gotta learn from the best. But this is the second one. The pleaser is I did this a lot too. I was the kind of person who would I inorganically, I should say, paid for followers and likes on Instagram at one point. I was really
Mm,
ashamed of it. But first, I'll just say it's something I still struggle with. But it's I don't know. It's really an internal battle. When you feel
mhm,
worthy and whole and complete within yourself, when you've
mhm,
done the energy, and I really say that, I'll just say real quick, there's three tenets in my opinion. You might say there's four.
mhm,
I say there's three to internal transformation. It's emotional, spiritual, and mental. When you can take care of
mhm.
those areas, I do believe the physical will also take care of itself. And
Yep.
you become more grounded in your authentic self, the mission, what you were put on earth here to do. I think a natural byproduct of that is the people pleasing starts to fall away, because a lot of those people are confused. They feel unworthy. And again, they're trying to cover it up. And this is the thing where I can't stand, it's something I want to change so bad, is if people have self-awareness, they'll stop looking for external goals to fill internal holes. That includes people and people pleasing. That includes proving everyone wrong by achieving,
Yep.
getting into the National Hockey League. It makes me so frustrated to see people that do that. And
Yep.
all I want to do from the bottom of my heart is change that. So that helps people pleasing and proving if you can get to the
Yep.
root, which is unworthiness, and really transform it from the inside out, if you will.
Absolutely. Well, that's what we do. That's what we do, the Inside Out Institute. And, how is just, I know we got to go, we're running a little bit late, but just 30 seconds. How has
Mm-hmm.
the Inside Out Institute really started or helped you transform your life already?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. If I had 3 hours, I can go on and on and on. But the coaching, everybody needs a coach. Todd, you told me that, and I cannot
Hmm.
find that more true. And I'm blessed to have you as a mentor and
Hmm.
Emmanuel and my coaches. But at the same time, I'm also a man of action. So the coaching is like an extra booster shot for me. But I
Hmm.
was the kind of person with the horrible beliefs, with the really
Hmm.
traumatic past and the rejections from hockey teams. So when I got into emotional energy healing, it felt like the missing piece, the thing that was literally everything, why I couldn't be the person I wanted to be, why I couldn't be present, why I couldn't create the future I wanted and be joyful in the moment, why I had to
Yep.
prove everyone wrong and people please. Inside Out and the healing, I'm obsessed with the emotion and body code. I do sessions on myself. I have other people work on me. I have Sarah work on me,
Hmm.
Lori, and
Yep.
it's just taken me to a place I can beyond my wildest imaginations. And I've only been in it for 10 or 11 weeks. And I'm just so excited to see where that can take me. Like, I didn't
Yep.
know this life was possible. And
That's
it's
amazing.
just done so much.
That's amazing. Well, hey man, you're an amazing guy. Your future is looking incredibly bright. You're going to impact thousands, if not millions, of lives. Just keep that humble heart, humble spirit, and don't do it for the wrong reasons. Do it for the right reasons. I know we live in a world where fame and celebrity is cool, but what's really cool is showing people that they can heal quick, and you being a part of that, because you heal the man, you heal their children, and you heal
Yeah.
their future children, and of course the man and the woman you heal. And that's what we're doing here. We're actually healing future generations, working with the people now. And just it's such a spiritual battle out there as well, and
Oh,
we're
yeah.
winning the spiritual battle. So thanks so much, man, for being on. You are awesome. And if you guys enjoyed this, definitely comment, and we could definitely inbox you to be a part of our private free Facebook page. If you definitely want a free call, the one that I did with Sabin, then go ahead and DM me or comment, call, and we'll reach out to you, and you can have a free coaching call, the same one that I did with Sabin 10 or 11 or 12 weeks ago. I was driving in my car while I was doing it, but it worked. Usually I don't do that in my car, but it was awesome. So I'm so glad to be
Yeah.
connected to you, Sabin, and so glad that you're here.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Todd, for everything. And Inside Out has done more for me than you'll ever know. So I
All
really
right.
appreciate you.
You too, man. Awesome. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.